All right, you ready for this? Have you ever been introduced to somebody and a second later you forgot their name? If you want to know about that and other things all about memory, stay tuned to Mysteries Mysteries. I am Mr. E, and we are going to explore all things mysterious in the world of psychology. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about memory, and it's good, it's bad, and it's ugly. I've done a couple podcasts on memory before. Today, we're going to do a pretty cool one, I think, that you'll really appreciate. You'll gather something from this that you can take and move on. Just a little side note, one of my listeners, regulars, said, I really wish some of your podcasts were a little bit longer and you told us a little bit more about it. I think it's important for me to share with you. One of our goals here is to not tell you everything, but actually to share with you pieces of information that you can use to then go out and explore more and more things. And that's really our goal. And we also keep it at between 8 and 13 minutes because for those of you that drive, it's a great time length for people that commute places, unless, of course, you're in LA, especially LA right now. But, that would be why we do what we do. So I think it's really important to understand that. So anyway, back to memory. So you meet somebody, you shake their hand, they introduce themselves to you, and you're busy doing other things. You might be looking at them. You might be concentrating on your handshake, making sure that it's not too soft, not too firm, that sort of thing. You're looking at their hairline, their looks, their clothing, whatever, but you're a little bit distracted. And in fact, what happens is you don't forget their name. It actually is that you never, ever stored their name into your memory. And it's something called encoding failure. So you have three parts of the process of memory. You have encoding, you have storage, and you have retrieval. Encoding puts it into storage. Storage is the holding place, the vessel that keeps your memories. And then retrieval is getting that information back out of your memory. So with encoding failure, what's actually happening is you never put it into your memory because you are distracted. A couple examples would be when you misplace your keys and you say, I forgot where I put my keys. It's not that you forgot where you put your keys. You just never encoded where you set them down. So I guess you could say it's forgetting, but it was never placed into storage because you were busy doing something else. I think the classic one is this. Where is my cell phone? I think that's one of my favorites right there is you are so absent-minded. And that's another phrase for encoding failure. You're so absent-minded about your mind is on other things, okay? And you just kind of forget where you're at. So those are a couple things with encoding and encoding failure. From there, what we do is we store information, and we store information in our memory banks. We have, it's a whole bunch of different parts of the brain, but to simplify the process, we have two parts of our brain that are a couple of the main components. One is the cerebellum, which is our center for balance in our brain, but it's also a center for muscle memory. So that's going to help with our motor cortex in our frontal lobe. It's going to allow us to do movements, motor skills like walking and talking, things that we don't ever have to think about. They're stored there, so we do them automatically. And then we also have the hippocampus, and this is the one that's involved with the memory that we're talking about today. The hippocampus, by the way, the cerebellum is right back here. The hippocampus is buried in the the base of our brain, not by the brainstem, but more towards the middle. And the hippocampus is involved with connecting memory and emotion. And it is the center for all things episodes, all things episodic in our life. So all of our life experiences are processed by the hippocampus, and all things semantics, like facts that we learn, anything that we have to declare with conscious recall, things that we have to remember to do, are going to be housed and processed in the hippocampus. So the hippocampus is involved with this storage that we're talking about right now. And all of our memories are stored in this location. And as we're talking about storage, we have really three steps to this process. We have sensory memory, which is our instantaneous memory for visual and acoustic items. Then we have our short-term memory, which is, our memory, it's going to be short-lived as long as we pay attention to something. It's going to have limited space. Some people claim that it can maintain about 7 plus or minus 2 items at any given time. And then we have our long-term memory, which is our limitless storage bank. And that's going to be what is taking place when we're processing memories in the hippocampus and trying to retrieve those memories. So we store them and they're processed in the hippocampus. And if we don't use them, if you've ever seen the movie Inside Out, where they take those balls of memory and they remove them, okay, they remove them from the young girl's memory. That is something called storage decay. Great movie, by the way. It's called storage decay. And when you don't use it, you lose it. Another phrase for that is neural pruning, and that chops off those neural networks that you don't use anymore. The greatest example for me is calculus. I have not used it in 25 years. It's gone bye-bye. It's gone the way of the dodo bird. It is out of here. So that's why, if we're not going to use these memories, they will decay, they'll break down. And then the last step is going to be our retrieval of these memory. And that retrieval is grabbing things out of long-term memory and placing them back into short-term memory, where we are now consciously aware of whatever it is that we want to recall. Now, what's super cool about this is that when we talk, you might say that you have a limited memory or you have a bad memory, that sort of thing. But I'll just give you a little tidbit here. If I were to ask you about recess in kindergarten, you're going to immediately go back there and you may think about things that you have never thought about in the last however many years. And that proves kind of the limitless nature of our memory, that it is just, stuff is there and we don't even know that it's there until we need it or we are made aware of it. So super fascinating. Last piece I want to talk about is how we strengthen memory. And this is the piece that I really want to hone into here for the last 3 or 4 minutes. If you think that you have a not so great memory and you want to improve that memory, I'm just going to give you a couple really healthy pieces of information to use to take your memory to the next level. I am not great at memorizing things, but I've learned some techniques. Teaching psychology helps. And through strengthening your memory, you can learn these techniques. You can learn these techniques that can strengthen your memory. And there's 2 concepts. One is maintenance rehearsal, and the other one is elaborative rehearsal. And this is what I want to really focus on. Maintenance rehearsal is you just keep coming back to whatever it is that you want to remember, and it kind of just starts to stay there. Unfortunately, we can do that for negative things too, like ruminating thoughts that we keep coming back to and experiences that we have with other people. And we can keep going back to those memories and we're really strengthening them, and we don't want to. But we can also do that for the good stuff or the stuff that we just really, really enjoy. So maintenance rehearsal, you just come back to it and you rehearse it over and over again. And the more you rehearse it, the more it comes back to you, the stronger it is in your long-term memory. Now, elaborative rehearsal is where it's at. This is where it's at for the important stuff. It's practicing maintenance rehearsal, but it's practicing maintenance rehearsal with a sense of meaning. Okay. So I want to memorize the presidents of the United States. By the way, I love memorizing lists. I love it. And I use elaborative rehearsal. And what it does, you can go through president's numbers 1 through 47, and you can just go off of them, off of a list, and just sheer memory. That would be maintenance rehearsal. But I practice something called elaborative rehearsal. So I give meaning to what these presidents have either done or some little anecdote about them. So if I were to pick William Howard Taft, William Howard Taft is not an incredibly famous president, but I can immediately say he is president number 27 because he is the heaviest president of all time. So in my mind, I say that he weighed 270 pounds. So number 27, 270 pounds. That's one of my favorites. But my absolute favorite one is this. President number 13. I'll give you a second. Do you know who that is? Nope. It is Millard Fillmore. Some of you might not even know who Millard Fillmore is, right? I really don't know what he did because he didn't do a whole lot. But this is how I remember him. The number 13 is obviously associated with bad luck. Millard sounds like mallard. Mallard is a duck. Millard Fillmore is an unlucky duck. So he is president number 13. That's elaborative rehearsal. I know. It's weird, but it works. And I do that for lots of different things that I'm trying to memorize. And that elaborative rehearsal means so much. Now, to get it to important stuff, if you are a student or you are a teacher or you are a parent of a student and they're struggling with math, one of the reasons there's a big struggle with math is sometimes there's no semantic meaning. Like you have all of these algebraic formulas and these X's and Y's and variables, and it can lose meaning. And that's why it can be so difficult to learn and memorize math. But as your brain matures, you will slowly but surely, and practice, repetition, you'll slowly but surely start to develop those neural networks where elaborative rehearsal is possible. And now math starts to mean something. And so the more the meaning in math, the more you enjoy the math, the better you are at math. And a lot of times people say that you have to be good at math to enjoy math. But actually, experiments that have been done, surveys that have been done, actually proves that the happier you are with math, the more you improve it. And that really is based off of semantic meaning of the information, and therefore you can practice elaborative memory. So those are just a couple little pieces about memory. Believe me, the topic of memory is limitless, just like your memory. And so stay tuned. We'll talk more about memory, but we appreciate you here at Mysteries. We thank you for joining us. Make sure you follow us. And hey, until next time, we'll see you.